Welcome to Harrowing Tales, where the most chilling stories await you. Tonight, I'll guide you through a tale that might just linger in your mind long after the lights go out. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Share where you're watching from and the time. It's always darkest before dawn, isn't it? Now, get comfortable, relax, and let's step into the shadows together. Nestled deep within the Appalachian Mountains was a town you wouldn't find on any map. Hollow Creek, they called it. Once a thriving mining village, it was abandoned decades ago when the mine shut down, its residents scattering to other towns. Or so the official story went. But whispers told a different tale. People claimed Hollow Creek wasn't abandoned, it simply vanished. Those brave enough to venture into the forest where it had once stood spoke of strange happenings. Faint music drifting through the trees. The scent of baking bread where no homes remained. And at night, ghostly figures wandering in the mist. Evelyn, a 23-year-old urban explorer, was drawn to these stories. She made her living documenting forgotten places, sharing her adventures online. So when she stumbled across an old journal in an antique shop, its pages describing Hollow Creek's mysterious disappearance, she couldn't resist. The journey to Hollow Creek was long and arduous. The forest grew denser the deeper Evelyn drove, the sunlight filtering through the canopy in eerie, fragmented beams. Her GPS lost signal miles ago, but the journal's handwritten directions guided her well enough. The first sign of something amiss was the sudden silence. No birds. No rustling leaves. Just the crunch of gravel beneath her boots as she left her car behind and ventured into the woods. She found the village just as the journal described, a clearing surrounded by towering pines, with crumbling stone foundations and weathered wooden beams hinting at what had once been homes. Evelyn set up her camera, her breath fogging in the cool mountain air. The stillness was oppressive, yet she felt watched, as if unseen eyes followed her every move. Strange discoveries. As dusk settled, Evelyn explored the remnants of the village. She found rusted tools, shattered pottery, and a torn doll lying in the dirt, its glass eyes staring blankly. But it wasn't until she approached the old well in the village square that she heard it, a soft hum, like a lullaby carried on the wind. "Hello?" Evelyn called, her voice trembling. The humming stopped. She peered into the well, her flashlight's beam cutting through the darkness. At first, she saw only her reflection in the stagnant water below. Then something moved. A pale hand reached up from the depths, its fingers impossibly long, its nails cracked and jagged. Evelyn stumbled back, her heart hammering in her chest. The hand disappeared, leaving the water eerily still once more. The night falls. Determined to stay the night and document more, Evelyn pitched her tent near the edge of the village. As darkness enveloped the clearing, she began to regret her decision. The forest came alive with sounds, whispers too faint to understand, the creak of unseen footsteps, and the occasional snap of a twig just beyond her sight. Her camera captured nothing but shadows, yet the feeling of being watched grew unbearable. She clutched her flashlight tightly, its beam cutting through the thick, suffocating dark. Then came the singing. It was faint at first, a single voice carrying a mournful tune. But soon, it was joined by others, their harmonies weaving an unsettling melody. The voices came from all around, echoing through the trees. Evelyn grabbed her camera and stumbled out of the tent, her breath coming in shallow gasps. The singing grew louder, more insistent. And then she saw them. Figures stood at the edge of the clearing, their faces obscured by the shadows. They were dressed in old-fashioned clothing, their postures unnaturally stiff. Who are you?" Evelyn whispered, her voice barely audible. the figures didn't respond. They simply stepped closer, their movements jerky and unnatural, like puppets on invisible strings. The escape. Evelyn turned and ran, her flashlight bouncing wildly in her hand. The whispers followed her, growing louder, more frenzied. The trees seemed to close in, their gnarled branches clawing at her clothes and hair. When she finally reached her car, she didn't look back. She sped down the narrow mountain road, not stopping until she was miles away. But the forest wasn't done with her. In her rearview mirror, Evelyn caught a glimpse of something in the back seat, a pale face with hollow eyes and a twisted grin. She slammed on the brakes, her car skidding to a stop. When she turned around, the back seat was empty. The aftermath. Evelyn never returned to Hollow Creek. She uploaded her footage online, but the video was riddled with static, the eerie singing barely audible beneath the distortion. Comments flooded in, viewers claiming to see shadowy figures in the background or hear faint whispers when the audio was amplified. Evelyn tried to move on, but the forest followed her. At night, she heard the singing outside her window. And sometimes, in the darkness of her bedroom, she felt the weight of unseen eyes watching her. Hollow Creek had claimed her. And it was never going to let her go.